Going to be a video on how to restring a guitar. There are billions, if not trillions, of videos online on how to do this, and I think I've even posted some. Right now I've got my Ibanez AEG-20. I think I've got D'Addario .011 strings on there, and I'm going to be putting on .010, the EJ15 3Ds. 3D comes in a package of 3. You can also get it in a package of 1. But I like the D'Addarios, however you want to pronounce it. I've done some reviews on other strings, but I always end up going back to these, the D'Addario brand. And my favorite is the, I can't even remember what it is, but it's the .011. But the .010 is almost the same string. I did a comparison of the two, and what I did is I put the .010 and the .011 on two different guitars that are the same model. I know they're going to have different sounds, but hold on. Sorry, had to stop the dog from doing something. Let's see, just so you know what I'm talking about. There she is over there. There she is hiding in the corner. So my favorite are the .010 and the .011, and I thought there was a difference, but I guess maybe there is a little bit in feel. But what I did is I put them on two different guitars, and I played both of them, and I labeled the back of them, but I didn't know which strings I was playing, and I couldn't tell the difference with sound. I could barely tell the difference with feel. When you have the thicker string, it grabs better when you're doing plucking, finger picking. It grabs under the nail a little better. But compared to the smaller strings, sometimes it feels a little difficult. But when I did a blind test, I could barely tell. So I'm going to be putting on the .010s right now. And what I'm going to do is I've got a, this is totally overkill, but I've got a Makita impact wrench, and I'm going to be testing out one of these things. I used it before on a drill. It really didn't work good. So this is an adjustable bit drive, major torque. I could totally break the guitar, but I'm going to see if it makes it a little different, a little easier, and I'm going to show you how to, I can't remember what the name of it is, lock the strings, which I've done on some other videos. So here we go. I know it is extremely dusty. Wow, that's worse than I thought. So some people like to take off all the strings, and that's okay. But I don't like to do that. I like to take off maybe one string, two strings at the most. That way I keep some pressure on the neck, and if your nut is loose, you never want to have a loose nut, but if your nut is loose and you take off all the strings, your nut could fall on the floor. And that's never a good thing if your nut is on the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably just loosen one string. I like to do one string at a time. Again, one string, maybe two. If you do three, you can go in here and really clean this up and polish. Plus, you can also do some cleaning up on the over here, or you just do two strings, do some polishing, take off the middle two, do polishing, take off the end two, do polishing. So all you do, you know how to do it. When you're loosening this side, you turn it. If you're not sure, then do the string so you don't turn it in the wrong direction and break it. It should sound lower as you do this. I'm going to go clockwise. So just do that. I'm going to do that for a couple strings, and then I'm going to go and pull out the pins. So I've got the impact drive on reverse, and let's see if this is even worth using. Not really sure. It's definitely worth using when you're winding it up. But, okay, I can't even get it lined up. There we go. Oh. Whoa. Okay, that was a loud sound. Did I break the string? Kind of the string. Oh. Okay, I was going in the wrong direction. What an idiot I am. Thought I was going counterclockwise, but you go clockwise when you're loosening this. Okay, so, yikes. Much easier now. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing. Be careful, don't do what I did. You never want to do what they show you to do in a video. Okay, I'm going to do the number 5 string. I hope this is in the video or it's not going to be too exciting. Was that in the video? Yeah, that was in the video. All right, now I'm going to take off the 2 strings now. it is really nice being able to use the impact drive. Compared to a drill, for me, it made a big difference. I used one of those cordless screwdriver things one time. I didn't find it as easy. Now, you got to take out the pins. You have to take out the pins. You got to have good grammar in your videos. You have to take out the pins so that you can get the string out. One of the easiest ways to do that is you push the string down. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. You can see how dirty these strings are. These are, I don't know how long I've had these on, but you want to try to force the string down into the hole. Get it? Okay, there. It won't always work, but if you do that, it will make it a lot easier. Now you've got two choices. They make tools to take this out. You can use these things. What I find is that these things crack, and this is already cracked. I got a couple of these. They're cheap. You can see how it just goes into that hole, goes over the thing, and I keep them in order. Most people don't, but I like to keep them in order. What I did is I took off all three strings, so I can do cleaning on the neck. So if it doesn't come out, you can also, this is very deep in here. If it doesn't come out, you can also use a pair of wire cutters. They have to open wide, and just go in there and pry a little bit, do a little, you don't want to squeeze, you just want to use it as leverage to pull. And then you can go in here with the tool. I used to do this with needle nose. Sometimes you need to use needle nose, sometimes you don't. And if you end up breaking these things, you can buy them online really cheap. You can get them at a guitar store also, maybe. But I got some of these somewhere. It's always good to have some just in case you need them, in case you break them. Okay, these are plastic. I know some people like to use the metal ones. So I've got all the three low strings out, or they would be the high strings. And what I'm going to do now is, this is really dirty, obviously, as I showed you. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to clean this thing, polish it up a little bit, and then I'll show you what it looks like. They make cleaners for these. Some people want to, if you have a really expensive guitar, you might be worried about what you're going to put on here. There are some cleaners that people use on their tables. I'm not going to mention the P word, and sometimes people say don't use that because the chemicals in there could melt the glue or dissolve the glue where the frets are going to be, and you don't want that. So there are some very expensive cleaners, some oils that people use to... Sorry about all that noise in the background. Rude women, rude neighbors, making lots of noise, yelling. I don't know why. Normally I have the door closed so I'd never hear it. So it's starting to look really nice. Usually when I do this, you get an enormous amount of dirt that comes off on the towel. And if I was going to loosen the other three strings, I would get off a ton of dirt. But I want to keep some tension on the neck. The cloth is kind of dirty. It's taken off some dirt. And again, a lot of people, pros, might take all this off and go in there, use some 0000 fine steel wool to shine up the frets, or to clean up the wood. They might put some type of polish in there, or not polish, some wood cleaner or fret oil. So I'm going to finish this off, and then I'm going to show you how to put on three strings. Normally I wouldn't do this because I just don't care. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you use just a pencil eraser. See how it's getting a little shinier? It looks a little shinier, and like, wow. But for me, I just don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it looks dirty. Maybe one of these days I'll clean this thing up. And if you're going to clean it up, and they make guides that will have a gap osis in them that will slide over, and so it just leaves the fret, the opening of the fret, so you can do some steel wool without ruining the wood. Or you could just go in here and put masking tape over here and masking tape over here, and it just exposes the top of the fret, and then you can go in there and clean it up. Now this is on the package. It might be on the back of the box. It usually is on the back of the box and the package, but you can see they color code it. Diodario does. Some of them don't color code the ends of the strings, and usually they group them with 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2, 1. So I'm going to take it out of the package now. I'm going to turn the camera upside down so that you'll have a better view of what I'm doing. And I will start putting the strings on. There we go. Comes in a bundle. Brass, red, and black are what I'm going to need for the 6, the 5, the 4. Brass, red, black. So we've got the brass and the red. Be careful when you do this so you don't mess them up as you're separating everything. They should come apart fairly easily. Alright, so I'm going to put in the brass first, and then I'm going to put in the red. And I just like to loosen it a little bit. Some people like to take them out all the way. Doesn't really matter, whichever way you want to do it. You've got this little gap over here, so what you want to do is you really want to get this, when you're inserting it, you want to get it like that. You want to line it up. It doesn't really matter that much. The whole goal is you want this underneath there. And it doesn't really matter if it's facing this way or facing this way. You're really not going to know what's going on. So what you want to do is you want to push this in the hole. You zoom in the hole a little bit. Let's do a zoomer. So, was that right? I want brass. Don't mess up. Then I would have the wrong strings in there. So, you can see how I've got the gap. And yeah, these have seen better times. Put that in there. You want the gap facing, obviously, towards the bridge over here. I'm going to push it in, and then I'm going to pull up a little bit. You hear how it locked? You hear that little sound? And that might happen again when you start tightening the strings. This might pop a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't pop too much, or else it might go flying out, but it won't. So, again, take that little split over there, face it towards the bridge. I was talking to somebody who was doing a performance, and I saw her, and I thought she was very talented, a really good player. Asked what kind of guitar she had, and then I asked her what kind of strings, and she said, I don't know. And I thought, how can you be this good and not know what kind of strings you have? Then I asked who does the restringing. She said she takes it to the store. I've talked to 2 women who are very good, and they took their guitars to the store to get restrung, and one of them took it to the store to get tuned. Didn't even have a tuner. She was so good, but she didn't have a tuner. Just shocking to me. When I first started out, it took me about an hour to restring a guitar, and it's probably going to take an hour to do this video. But you just take your time, and you'll get it. Push the string down into the hole. Push the pin down all the way. Press up. It didn't lock. It didn't make that sound. Oh, okay. Things are unwinding all over the place. It really didn't make the sound that I wanted it to. I don't know if it's locked in place. Sounds like it's locked in place. All right, so I think I put in the right strings. Yeah, this one's thicker than this one. And then I have the last one, which is going to be the black. And where did I put that set of strings? Oh, no. Oh boy, I should shut off the camera, but, oh, right over there. Ah, what am I doing? Okay, so, again, I'm just going to put the black one in, and then I will unwind this. Well, I can unwind it now. So you take the black one, go in here, put this thing into the ridge. The lighting's facing the camera, but I can't really see what I'm doing here. That's the problem. Pull, I'm going to pull up. You should hear a noise. Get this other string out of the way, and then we'll see if we can hear the noise. Let's pull up. Okay, so you heard that noise, I think. So now, you've done half of the job, or really a quarter of the job, because we have to go to the other side, and then we have to do these again, so that's another quarter, another quarter. Remember, if you went to LA City Schools, 4 quarters equals a whole, or 1. Let's go over to the other side now. Check that out. Pretty clean, huh? I know, it looks much better. So I really want to put the camera on the other side, but you are not going to be able to, unless I flip the video, you're not going to get a good idea of how to lock the strings. It's going to look backwards or upside down. So what I've done is I've got it, I'm going to make this difficult so it's easier for you. And I close the door so we don't have to listen to those. Oh, the dog's right behind me. Hold on. I really want to build or get a neck holder, neck support for this. God, the lighting is just terrible with this thing. I don't know why. Who knows? All right, so I closed the door so you don't have to listen to those women, those annoying women make so much noise. And I've got the fan on to stay cool. So what you're going to need is a pair of wire cutters. And if you're starting off, I would, well, even if you're not starting off, unless you've done this a bunch of times, when you put the wire in there, the string in there, you don't want to cut it until you know that you've got enough room to wrap around here. Some people only want one wrap. Others want 2 or 3 wraps on here, or on the smaller strings, the thinner strings, they might want 3 or 4 or 5 wraps. And the other thing that you have to realize is that when you put on these strings and you cut the string, after you get it tuned, these strings are going to stretch. And so you're going to have some extra room for length even after you cut it. But just be careful until you've done this a few times. I have never cut a string too short, but it's just hard to tell sometimes. Some people have a way where if they're going to do this string over here, they will, if they're going to do this string, they will tighten the string and then they'll move one length. I don't like that lighting. So if they're going to do this string over here, they will go one string away and they'll say, okay, so this is the place where we're going to work with, and they're going to pull the string back, and that is what they're going to start with. Other people like to raise their finger up under the strings. Let me show you. And you kind of like go like, you can't see that. They get it and they go like this, and they just do finger length like that, and that's the measurement. So let's see if we were going to do the finger length like that. Let's see what happens when we extend it. Does that come out to about the same? Comes out to almost the same. All right, so it's really up to you how you want to do it. If you're really cool and you think you're really bad, then you never want to cut the strings. You want them hanging all over so that you can look like a fool. So line up all 3 of your holes now. Always good to have lined up holes. Or you can line them up individually. It's very hard to see what I'm doing because I cannot look through the viewfinder. So I'm going to line up my screws. I mean my holes, not my screws. Line up the holes. It just makes it easier. All right, what do we have? That one's lined up. So this is the number 6 string. Is this in the picture? Yeah. I just hope this doesn't fall. It's resting on the edge of my computer table and on a side table and on a towel. This is not the way to do it. All right, so take your string. And the other hard thing is you don't want your hands in the way of the video because then they can't see what you're doing. And how am I going to do this? You going to be able to see what I'm doing? You're not going to be able to see a thing. I think this is going to be the best position I'm going to be able to get in. So what I'm going to do is I've got the string held tight, and if I pull it over to number 5 and then I let go, that leaves a ton of string. Of course, when you've got the big strings, that really doesn't mean that much because the big strings use up a lot of space, and 3 wraps will probably be that. But like I said before, as the strings stretch, you're going to end up with a lot more on the peg than you really need. So, but if you don't leave enough, then you only get about 2 wraps on there. And I like 2.5 to 3 wraps. So pull the string tight, go in there, and pull it back about like that. What does that come out to? That's a lot. And now what I'm going to do, you're looking at this from the side. That's the only way I could do it. Only on this side, on the big strings, the fat strings. On the other side, it's different. It's a different direction. But on this side, you take the string and you wrap it. See how it goes through? You wrap it around right, clockwise, like the clock is going this way. So you wrap. Do I want to zoom out? No, I want to stay that way. So hold the string and go wrap it around clockwise. This is kind of weird to do at the beginning, but it's not that weird once you do it a few times. I haven't done this in about a year, and it's just going to come back to me naturally. So wrap it around and then take the string and put it under, notice it's going under, over, going back, and then some people like to cut it right now, some people don't. I'm going to leave it that way. And then you see how I'm holding the string with these fingers, and I'm holding that, and just start wrapping. It's not going to look 100% great because this is called locking the string. If you cut it, it might look really good, but I'm not going to cut it. And as you do this, you want to try to keep this straight so that the string, see, it already looks kind of odd, and that's okay. It looks like it's not going to wrap the right way. You just want to hold this downward a little bit, and you want to get this to start wrapping. So now over here, it doesn't look like it's 100% tight, but that doesn't matter. Everything's fine. And you just want to hold the string in your right hand really tight, and you want to start wrapping and keep it underneath. See, there's a big loop over here, and a pro would not have the loop. They would probably also cut it right away. It doesn't really matter, though, because the string is going to be held tight, and it's locked in place, and that's the only thing that really matters. So I've got that big loop, which I do not like, but no big deal. So I've already got 2 wraps on here, and this is way too much. It's starting to tighten up. It's definitely, now you put it in the, what you also want to do is, as you're doing this, you don't want the string in the nut, because you're going to start wearing the nut down every time you put on a string, and pretty soon you're going to have to replace your nut. So you want to hold the string up until the very end. And so now we've got, let me zoom in a little bit. So now we've got that, and I'm just going to tighten just a little bit. Sounds really nice. How many wraps do I have on there? I've got about 2. And you can see that big loop, which I don't really like, but that's just how it is. And then now that I know that I've got a good wind, if I wanted to, I could cut that thing. It's fine, and I am going to cut it. Some people cut them at the beginning, some people cut them at the end. Get a pair of wire cutters that you don't care about, because this is probably going to ruin them. So you want them to be thick. The thinner the wire cutters, the more damage you're going to do to the blade, and the harder it's going to be to cut the thick wires. This is fine for thin wires, but for the thin strings, but for the big strings, it works, but I'm also damaging the cutters as I do this. So I've got in the, oh, I was just checking. I was worried that I put in the wrong string. Okay, so I've done number 6. Now we're going to do number 5. Can I reposition this so that you can see it a little better? I think I can. I just need to hold the camera still. It's on an angle a little bit. So I'm going to put in number 5. See if I can get rid of that. Oh, almost lost the camera there. Whoa, I'm sure you saw that. The tripod is not positioned properly. Yikes. This would have been an expensive video. Why is this not lined up right? Okay. What are the... There we go. So we're going to do that again. Make sure that the string is where it needs to be. Inside, not wrapped around here. You want it inside here. So let's turn this a little bit around. All right. Keep it away from the nut so that you don't. I am zoomed in so far. Keep it away from the nut so you don't scratch your nut and you don't wear it down as you do this. So again, if you want to do, this works fine for the big strings, not so good for the small strings, because you're going to end up with a ton of wraps around the peg. But if you want to put it in the hole over there and then go to the last one and hold the string a little bit tight after you get it tight. Go to the next one over here, next peg. Put your finger over there, pull back a little bit. I don't go all the way. And so you're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to do go behind, clockwise, under the string, grab it, get it under the string, pull it back, over and to the back. And then just start tightening again. That string looks a little better. It doesn't have as much of a loop because the string is a little thinner in gauge. Make sure this doesn't poke you in the eye as the wire is going around, as the string's going around. And I should get a few more wraps on here, maybe. I've got about 1, 2 wraps right now. String up. I don't know how the people in the guitar stores do it, where it's an absolutely beautiful wind. Maybe because they've done it for so many times, so many years, that it's just a nice clean wind. And they also don't let this hang out. I think they put it in the hole and they cut it right away, so they don't have that big round gap in the wind that I do. Okay, so now it's starting to get tight. I've got it in the nut. Let's go to the 6 again, the 6th again, and here's the 5th that I'm putting in. Six, 5, and now I'm going to do the 4th string. This is going to be a long video. I'll probably title this How to Put New Strings on Your Guitar in 5 minutes, but the video will take 2 hours. All right, so I've got the last one over here. Let's see if I can get that on the camera view. So get it towards the nut, make it tight. Go over here. Now you don't really have another one of these things over here, so just estimate, it's like 2 fingers. So 2 fingers, pull it back a little bit, go clockwise, bring it around, under, back over, and to the left. And then just start tightening again. Oh, that slipped. Doesn't really matter. It's going to work either way. The whole idea is to lock the string. It just stops it from unlocking, obviously, because you're locking it, yeah. And then just put some tension on the string and start wrapping. This is not as pretty as the other one, but ow! That's okay. It's starting to slip a little bit. If I had one of those neck holders, it would make it a little easier, but I'm trying to get the camera view in here, and holding the guitar and tightening this, and not off the hands. But I think it's showing what I want it to show. So the string is starting to get tight. And remember what I said, sometimes you hear a big pop right where the pins are. That's the string locking in and seating into that pin, because it didn't lock or seat the first time. So, all right, so we've done 3 strings now. 6, 5, 4. And I'm just going to tighten these up a little bit, not too much. I don't really care about getting them in tune because I'm going to stretch the strings later. So what do we have here? There we go. That's the number 6, and it's got a little bit of a bubble over here that I was telling you about before, that little thing. Who cares? This doesn't have as many wraps, but it's probably going to wrap another half a turn at least as I tighten everything. This one has about 2 wraps, and I'll probably get another half a wrap or more as the string stretches. So now I'm going to go on to the other side, and that is where, instead of going under and clockwise, we go, we go under and counterclockwise. Do on the other strings, the 1, 2, and 3, is I'm going to remove them, obviously, and then I'm going to remove the pegs. I'm going to clean everything up. And these, in case you did not know, how am I going to get the camera to position here? So the way these work is, let's go over to the number 3. Okay, now I'm going to turn it. Let's get this on. I don't want this thing to fall on the floor. If we turn it, I've got the guitar turned around. Some people do that, some people don't. Guitar is turned around. Now I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. And you hear it going higher. That's because I'm turning it in the wrong direction. I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. Everything's backwards now. I'm going to turn it clockwise to the right, and the strings are going to loosen. And if you don't remember, sometimes you don't remember. I don't remember because the guitar is upside down and it's backwards. So do this as you were taking the strings off so you don't over tighten, or just write it down on a sheet of paper. You're turning it clockwise to loosen, and you're turning it counterclockwise to tighten. So I'm going to get out my Nikita over here, and I'm not going to mess up this time. This time I'm going to do it in the right direction. Ooh. I'll do it clockwise, and that's backwards. All right. And you don't have to do this. You can use a hand crank, or you can just use your fingers. Now I'm going to take off the strings. And back. The dog definitely wants to go for her walk, so I've got to get this thing finished. Green, purple, silver is 3, 2, 1. So I put the strings in there. Now I'm going to go over to the other side, and I'm going to show you how to lock it back in and tighten everything up, and then I'll show you how I stretch the strings. Some people like to stretch it. Some people say it puts too much stress or tension on the neck, but I find it hasn't done any damage to these guitars, and when I do it, it just makes tuning a lot easier. I don't have to tune day after day after day after day forever. It just locks in place, and it pretty much stays in tune after I do that. So you can see again the guitar is backwards, or it's upside down, or however you want to call it, because I am working on the other strings. And let me get the camera positioned for this so that I can show you how to tighten everything down. Okay, the dog bed is back over there. I should have cleaned this up a little bit, but I'm just trying to get this thing done. Make sure it doesn't fall off the table if you're right-handed, because like this, it can go sliding all over. If you don't have it on a secure table or a sofa or something, that it's not going to fall. Okay, yeah, she's back. She's waiting for the big night walk. She loves to go for walks. Check out my videos. I did a ton of videos on my rescue dog. So what you want to do, line up your holes again, which I should have done before I started the video. Hey, if my videos help you, thumbs up, a subscribe, or a like. If you want to donate to my channel, ask for my PayPal info. If there's something you want me to review, if I can get a hold of it, I will gladly do the review. So line your holes up now, and this is a little bit easier, maybe not. Some people want to do 1, 2, 3. Some people do 3, 2, 1. Honestly, if I could, I like doing this first, and this first, just because it makes it easier to position all of these. But in the end, it, again, just does not matter. And there is the dog. I think you can see her. She's so beautiful. I just love this dog. She was in a kill shelter. Nobody really wanted her because she's very stubborn. Not stubborn mean. She's just very stubborn, and she's so cute. She's such a sweetheart. But people didn't want to deal with the stubborn attitude. And when I tell her to do something, she might look at me and just stare at me. And other times she'll run over and do exactly what I want. So it just depends on her mood. She's just a wonderful dog, and I adore her. Spent a lot of money on her because I want her to be happy and have everything that she can. So this is the number 3 string. See, now if I was doing the number 1, it would be easier. 1, 2, 3. But Again, it just doesn't matter. But, you know, let me get this out of the way and let's just do the number 1 string. Keep these out of the way, away from the dog. All right, you leave these alone. Good girl. So this is the number 1 string. Let's get the camera position there. And put it through the hole. Now, because these strings are smaller, they're thinner, if you do the measurement from here to here, you're going to end up with a lot more wraps on there, which is not bad. You don't want a ton of wraps on there. 3 to 4 is usually a standard, but if you end up doing this, you might end up with 5 or 6. Not the end of the world. Really not the end of the world. So I've got this in the hole. Now, remember, on the other side, I went clockwise. I wrapped under, and I brought it back to the left. This one, we do opposite of that. So here we are. If I'm working on this one, remember on the other side, I went over here, and then I slid down. I'm not going to slide down as far. Again, it doesn't really matter that much. None of this is that critical, unless you're a pro or you're really worried about that stuff. So we've got the string in over here, and we maybe want to measure over here. So let's just slide it down just a little bit. Okay, I'm only going about half, and that's really a lot. So on the other side, we went, again, like I said, clockwise. We brought it under, and then we wrapped it. This one we're going to go, instead of going to the right, I mean like this way, we're going to go to the left. So we're going to go counterclockwise underneath. I know you can see that. It should be able to show up even with the bad lighting. Of course, I don't like to do videos that people can't see things, so let's get the lighting positioned where it needs to be. And I hope that's not reflecting or glaring too much. Let's start that over again. And again, some people like to just bend the string and then do what they need to do. Other people, like me, they don't care about bending the string. But some people are really into bending the string, and then after that, they'll cut it off over here, and they'll do what they need to do. So take it, wrap it underneath. I'll take you soon. I see you over there. She's just looking at me. Man, look at those beautiful eyes. All right, so you're going to wrap this underneath the string, bring it over, and then back. And then on this side, we remember how we took it out? How we took it off this one, we go counterclockwise. We turn it to the left. And these strings are thinner, so it would make it easier if, let's make sure I've got the right string, it would make it easier to use the winder, but I'm not going to do that for this video. Again, make sure the string doesn't poke you in the eye. And you want to try to have your wraps so that they are underneath each other. It looks better. Not the end of the world if you don't. Over time you get better at this thing. So a lot of people right now would be cutting that string that's hanging up in the air to get it out of the way and to make the wind look professional. It doesn't really matter. I'm sorry, she's walking over there. I know she wants to go. She doesn't have to go. She wants to go. She's got her clock, plus we go for like 6, 7, 8 walks a day. And she's pretty upset that I'm not listening to her right now and doing what she wants, so she's walking away. All right. So keep it out of the nut as best you can so you don't wear the nut down. It's starting to tighten. I probably have about 3 or 4 wraps on there. And believe me, I do not, like I said, I think I said it in this video, I don't understand how people play guitar and don't have an electronic tuner. I just don't get it. Now let's see if I can tighten the string down. Okay, so I was able to tighten that string down by pulling a little bit. I'm going to cut it off. Again, the professional people, I got to stop saying again, the professional people who think they're really cool like to have the strings hanging out, like the big rock stars and the people who just think they're really bad. They like to look stupid. So We've got this string over here, hand tight, finger tight, not hand tight, whatever, finger hand over there. So we'll just pull this back. So we're at the number 3 over there. So we'll just slide this back a little bit, not all the way. And go underneath. We go left, under the string, wrap it over the string and back. If that didn't look good, go play the video in slow motion. Click on the little wagon wheel on YouTube and play the video in slow-mo, and you should be able to see. I'm zoomed in about as best as I can. And these wrap a lot better this way than the bigger strings. The bigger strings, you saw that big bubble wrap that I had over there. I think we're at about 2 wraps now. The smaller strings don't leave that big bubbly thing, the big extra wrap that looks terrible. So I just don't get these people, unless you're really good and you can tune. If you tune the guitar to itself, I don't get that. Just go out and spend some money, buy yourself a tuner and tune your own guitar to the right sound, not just to itself. And go out and buy some wire cutters so you can do this yourself. So you don't have to do what I told you those 2 women do. They take it to the store to get their strings changed. That's just doesn't make sense. All right, so we've got one more string. And be careful when you cut that string. You don't want to cut it in the wrong place. Oh boy, where's that piece of string? I do not want the dog to, oh boy. It just went flying somewhere. All right, I'm gonna have to get that in a minute, but here we go. I got that extra string. Don't want it to fall and hurt the dog, so. Guitar's ready to fall off the table. I'll put in the 3rd string. And remember, we have the 2 fingers for the gap. We can do the same thing here for the last string, the 3rd string over here, like we did on the other side. Pull it down all the way. And we would have 2 fingers length, somewhere about there. Not that big of a deal. 2 fingers somewhere around here when it's tight. Let's go back a little. Pull it back. Wrap it to the left. Go underneath the string. Underneath the string, wrap it, and loop back. And over time, it just becomes easier to do this. Again, I've been doing this for a few years. I'm not a good player. I'm not great at doing the strings, but it doesn't matter. I have a good time. I have a lot of fun. Some people, they need to play good. They need to do everything just a certain way and be perfect. I just enjoy the guitar. I have a great time doing it. I have a lot of fun restringing. I have a lot of fun cleaning these things up. I enjoy myself. I do this because I enjoy it. So I didn't get as many wraps around that as I wanted to. I think I've got about 2 wraps right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that string. And then we're going to tune this thing up. There we go. Now, like I was telling you before, some people don't like the idea of doing it this way. What I do is I put my fingers over here just to, number one, in case these things are going to pop, I want to hold my hand there so I don't have anything flying on my face. And it just keeps some pressure on there, and I like to go in here and pull on the string a little bit and do some stretching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then maybe I'll go in here and I'll press up a little bit. And it really makes a big difference. It makes a huge difference. So I've got my tuner over here right now. And let's get that in the camera eye area. And let's see if we can get this thing going. Now with these tuners, they're really weird until you get to the right area. Like that just showed a 4D. Now we're almost at 6E. 5A. That's showing a 5A for the number 3. 7B. 4D. 3G. 5A. 4D. 6E. 3G. 5A. Then I'll go back over here and do a little stretching. Oh, she wants to go outside. All right, let's do the 6 again. Can't talk while I'm doing it because my voice is almost at the E, the 6E. Hold on, I'll take you. We're on 6E right now. Let's do 5. Okay, we're at 5A, 7B, 4D, 'Whoa, I don't know if you heard that little yeah. That was the string over here seating. It went yeah. Oh, way down in key in Okay, we're at 4, and I'm going to go to the 3, which shows 4D, 6E, 3G, 4D. You're tuned on that. We're on the 2nd now. 5A. 2B, we're on that, now we're on 1, shows 5A, 2B, 4D, sometimes I get really worried because it sounds like I missed it, and I'm worried that okay, I said I've never broken a string before. I have broken a string before when it showed that it was not tuning, and I went way past. I missed it. (4D), 1E. Okay, so it's all tuned up right now. Now I'm going to go back here, get the tuner out of the way, hold down over here, and I'm going to do some pressing on the strings. Some people like to do this. Some people say it's a bad idea, but it always works for me. It's always worked for me, and then maybe the next day, most of the time the next day, it's in tune. Not always, but it just doesn't slip. The strings don't slip. On steel, I mean on what are these, brass? I forget what these things are. When you do this with classical strings, they are going to slip all over the place forever. So it's not as easy to do with classical. It's not going to matter. Okay, stretch. Let's do this one more time. Check the tuning. It went way down. I don't know if you can see it. It went way down for 6. And it also has something to do with humidity. Tomorrow, because of the humidity of the temperature, it might need to be loosened. One barrel, it's almost locked in. One did not need to be adjusted that much. We'll do this one more time. I'm going to play it and then go in and edit this and render it and post it. So make sure you leave nice comments. Yeah, I edit the comments. If they're mean, I just block or report you. I don't have time to deal with negativity, so 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's do this one last time. Let's get this in here so I think you can see it. It went down again. Just a little bit. A little bit for 4. 3 it held. 3 is usually the hardest string to lock in, and with classical probably a lot more. With the brass or whatever you're using, these strings, I rarely have a problem with the 3. Other brands, a lot of people complain about the number 3 string slipping all over the place. With the Diodarios, I don't have that problem. Okay, so this is pretty much tuned up. That's how you restring a guitar. If you're an expert, you're going to say, why did it take 2 hours to show that? And if you're a beginner, maybe you'll appreciate this video and say, thanks for helping me out. So, I really want to show this to you if I can. Hold on. Make sure I don't drop the guitar off the table. There she is. She heard me play the guitar and she just sat right down. She falls asleep to this. She loves when I play the guitar. So it's an added benefit for me. Even if I don't know what I'm doing, she just loves it. And that's why I just had a cutaway to show you. So let me get back to playing. Okay. Remember I was talking about the 10s and the 11s. As long as your nails are long enough that you can hook onto these things for finger picking, it's really good. Okay, that sounds good. Let's do some. What else can I do? I don't really have a pick. I've got the pick in the pocket. The pick in the pocket, that sounds good. Okay, I think that's a long enough video. The main reason I did this is because some people, me included, when I first started out, I had no clue how to restring a guitar, and I watched a lot of the videos, and everybody thinks you're an expert and they can just ramble through in 3 seconds and you're going to figure it out. And that's not really true in the beginning. For some people maybe, but for a lot of people no. So that's why I did this video. I've done other videos like this, how to restring. This is probably one of the most detailed ones that I've done. And if it helps one person, that is all that matters. Good luck. Time for her walk. You want to go for a walk? Yeah, you do. I love you, girl. Let's go for a walk.